Welcome to my boss Bolshevism. My nom de guerre is Marxist Hoodlum,
I'm Drem Yurda. We out here?
and we out here. So talk about what we talked about before. You went out drinking, had a couple drinks.
Yeah, me and my coworkers was out doing some. We were having a personal day, and recovering from the daily requirements of work in the capitalist system. So we were just out here vibing and hanging out with each other and doing our little thing, and then we just came back from a really nice day out. So honestly, the worst part of all of it was towards the end of the night. What towards the end of the day, we got like sprinkled on. Started to rain a little bit, but other than that, it was a pretty chill day. So we all had a good time, and yeah, it's it's something I'd probably do again for sure.
I thought when you started that sentence, I thought you were gonna say,
No, we we don't get down like that for real. But I can only speak for myself. But yeah, as seeing as I was there for most of the day, it was like that was not the type of that's not the type of time we were on, but it was pretty chill. So yeah, just just trying to vibe out and not get not get overloaded. So
yeah. I mean, you work hard, so you gotta play hard. You know what I'm saying?
true. My philosophy is if you work 40 hours a week, you deserve every spared minute you get, bro. Like nowadays, like I remember dudes was writing essays back in the day like, "Oh, 100 years from now." This was like 100 years back, but they'd be like 100 years from now, like we'll be working, 15 or 20-hour work weeks at most, and we'll just have all this free time because productivity will be up and money's gonna come in. And I'm just like, yeah, dude, like I fucks with that. Like nothing, like if really no job out here is gonna get more than 40 hours out of me. Like you should be paying me more. That's one thing. And not just me, just others in general. But you should be paying me more, and we should be enjoying more spare time away from the job. There's really no excuse to people working number one above 40 hours, number two above 60 hours. I know doctors, they tend to have like 80-hour work weeks, and that's like, to me, that's like untenable. I think it's really bizarre, and kind of like it's just really a lot. I don't know what else to say, but it's really a lot. And for such an important job, I don't think they deserve to be overworked to that degree. Call it idealistic, call it utopian, but yeah, they don't deserve to be that overworked. Yeah, I'll say that.
No, I worked 70 hours before because I was working a job and I was also doing a internship on a law firm. So like I would do the internship from around 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then at 2 p.m. I would go work at a dishwasher as a dishwasher, and I would finish around 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. because we're the last ones to leave. We gotta clean up everything, and we gotta clean up like pots and pans. We gotta clean up the floors,
Sure.
all that stuff. I only lasted 2 weeks and I quit. And I went to the internship only, like, and the internship decided to pay me after I told him that I had quit the dishwashing job. So I didn't get paid that much. I only got paid like $9. I got paid less as a in the law firm than the dishwashing by 50 cents. So
Mm.
I was making like $9. But the thing about like a law firm is like you can be like, all right, like on if you get ahead of time like notice, you can say like on Monday, you can say on Thursday I'm not gonna be here, and they'll be like, oh, that's totally fine. Like there's no problem with that. But as a dishwasher, you don't got that right. You don't got that right at all. Like if you're not there, like when they tell you to, like you gotta work holidays. You gotta work like six times a week. So
Yeah, most higher paying jobs are like that. I noticed, like, if the higher paying your job is, the more time off you are entitled to. Like there's no such thing as like PTO per se for you. Like if you're like middle management of a company and you need to take some fucking time off, they'll okay it. They will have near zero problem with you doing that. But if you are on the bottom rungs, if you're getting paid the minimum wage, they're like, no, you absolutely cannot take this time off. It's just like, why, dude? There's like 20 of us in here. Like one of us taking time off is not going to debilitate the entire system. But the way they talk to you about it, they're like, actually it will. And then if like, well, if it is debilitating the entire system, then you should be paying us more. Because if I'm that crucial, if I'm that essential, you need to then if I'm that if I'm that essential, then shouldn't I be making more money? Because if not, then why else? Like, so yeah, I get you. Like, we're a lot of us are overworked too. Like a lot of my coworkers, they'll work doubles consistently, and then when they decide to take some time off, whether it be a day or two, just to be like, get their mental correct, suddenly they're under scrutiny from upper management, be like, "Oh, well, you can't do this. You're taking too much time." It's like, "Okay, well, where were you? You're quick to acknowledge that I'm taking time off, but where were you acknowledging the time that I was putting in to help cover the shortages that we were experiencing? You're not. So I kind of need you to shut the fuck up, and be a little bit more lenient here."
They don't pay us the full amount that we give them labor in order to either, employer, like, kick it up to the CEO, or like capitalists, make get more machines, like for example in a factory, get more machines and stuff like that, capital to make it into money, and then make that money into capital again. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
So you work 40 hours a week?
Yeah, that's what I'm scheduled for. Sometimes I work a little bit more just because, that's what's required. And it's like I'll usually like stay a little bit extra if I'm already at work. Very, very rarely over the time that I've been in my current job will I like come in early, for example. But there have been instances, and it reflects pretty well on my check. But most of the time, like my default setting is like I'm not giving anybody, I mean anybody, more than 40 hours a week. You know, uh, it's to me, it's as it stands, knowing my labor history, or knowing what I know about labor history. I'm like, nah, 40 hours, the 40-hour work week itself was based off one billionaire's ideal for work. I don't know if you know this, but Henry Ford used to say, like, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for leisure, and 8 hours for sleep. That is the like American. That's like that's what the basis of the 40-hour work week was hinged upon. And it's like, well, who the fuck asked you, my guy? It's like, yeah, you're Henry Ford. You were the pioneer of capital and industry and all this other stuff, but yours is not the only vision for the world, of course. You know what I mean? So,
Well, the Russians, up to the Russian Revolution, they fought for 8 hours a work day. Of course, this is in the past. This dialectically, this is in the past and may not apply to today. It shouldn't apply to today because it's been a long time. But like, they were doing that because they were working 12 to 16 hours a day. So and even then,
oh, right, right.
even then, like those that were in the Communist Party, like even after the work, they would go to their meetings and stuff like that. They literally went hardcore compared to, again, dialectics. Where we go nowadays. Again, like this is 1912, 1913. It's a different time. We nowadays we have AI to solve all our issues. So, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be fighting for at least like a 4 day work and then a 3 day weekend or something like that. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and still get paid the same, you know. Well, not
No, no,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
no, absolutely. It's like if 100 years ago, because that's the scope that what we're dealing with, right? 100 years ago, an 8-hour workday was seen as an improvement over the 12 to 16-hour workday, the 16-hour workday that was expected of the working class. That's great. That's great. I don't bemoan it 1 second, but that again that was 100 years ago contextually, like let's put that into context, right? And I don't think we disagree on this point at all. Whereas like okay, we can and the research bears this out as well, that like they have monitored people who work 8-hour days 5 days a week, put in their 40 hours, and that those people putting in 40 hours in any 8-hour span, they're only doing about 4 hours worth of actual work. Productivity for people who work full time has like tripled since the 1980s. And if that's the case, it then goes to show that we can absolutely cut back on number one, hours, and number two, the intensity of the work that a lot of us are doing. I know it's a lot of it is service industry jobs and all this other stuff, but we can cut back on how many hours we're working. We can get paid the same, which is what a lot of people have suggested, and we can keep the productivity levels like where they are right now. So we can all work less, we can make the same amount of money, and we can keep up the same level of productivity. But of course, like many capitalists do, they want to squeeze us for every cent, nickel, and dime that we can produce for them. And it negatively affects our the outcomes in our personal lives. We often become, burnout is very, very, very prevalent in, I would argue, just about any job. There's some jobs that don't experience it as often, but more and more people are experiencing burnout than not, and having that availability, that time availability to just like not have to worry about work, not have to worry about producing, and it makes it more feasible for us to maintain the levels of productivity that we are in. But so often that's not the case. They just want to squeeze us for all we're worth. Fuck our personal lives. Fuck our mental capacity. Fuck our mental health, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. It's just like profit for profit's sake. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. So, what is your take on Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan's a bitch. He's like there was a time when people like him were actually speaking truth to power. There was a time, keyword was. As it stand now, he is the bootlicker's bootlicker. He's a bootlicker's bootlicker. There's nothing that he says, does, or acts. I mean, the thing about right wingers is that they suffer from Fox News syndrome. What do I mean by that? Fox News likes to pretend that it is above the fray, that it is outside the sphere of influence, that they're just like, oh, we're not insiders, we're not actually the media, we're just truth tellers. We tell it like it is, like any other right wing comedian, right? They like to bullshit their way into the hearts and minds of a lot of people, and Joe Rogan is no different. He's like, well, I'm actually having conversations, and I just want to know things. I just want to get it out to the people. It's like, okay, cool. But when the people that you interview and have on your show are related to or in Congress with, like, the people who are actively promoting the status quo, like a lot of his guests in the past year or so have been related to have had some connection in one way or the other to Jeffrey Epstein, and he has not challenged them in one way, shape, or form to some of the comments they made or anything. Then it's like Peter Thiel being one of them. He had Jeffrey Epstein's like personal chef and Jeffrey Epstein's person. I think like one of his pilots. He was also on the show. Like he's had, I think at least a dozen people who had worked for or related to in some way, shape, or form, whether tangentially or directly or indirectly to Jeffrey Epstein, and he's just kind of like, oh, yeah, it's whatever. Like he doesn't challenge them. He doesn't challenge them on the merits of their arguments, or like, he doesn't really bring the any of that to the forefront. He's just like, oh yeah, you knew him, okay, cool, and then that's like the end of the conversation.
Yeah, I am a very staunch supporter of setting people who are not funny to the gulag so they can learn enough comedy.
I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with you there. Yeah, no, if nothing else, him being not funny is, yeah, if like for calling yourself a comedian, you're fucking terrible, right? Like, and there have been multiple people who are much funnier than him, who have had who have recounted experiences of like going to his the mothership, his Austin based comedy
Yeah,
cellar thing.
you watched the same video that
Oh, maybe. And and other comics saying like, oh, like they just had they said one thing in their set, or they made one comment. They made one comment during their like not even tenure there, just like during their visit, and Joe Rogan was like, no, no, fuck that, get this person out. And it's like, okay, like this person just said one thing that was disagreeable to you, and it wasn't like, it wasn't anything of, I would argue, of consequence either. It's just like they disagreed with you on this one point, on this one viewpoint that you hold so dearly, and you decide, no, we gotta fucking not let them in again. It's like, who, if that's like, for all the accusations of liberals being like, snowflakes, and just being these knock-kneed, weak-willed individuals. It's like there's nobody more full of cowardice than a right winger to me, because your whole ideology is capitulating to power. And the minute someone doesn't agree with you, the minute someone expresses an idea that challenges your viewpoint of the world, it's like, oh, like it becomes this like, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, hypocrisy would be putting it lightly, but it just becomes this like, this crusade that you then embody, that it's like, oh, this person believes in this, that, and the other, and it goes against my deeply held beliefs. It's like, okay, cool. Well, and then when they go to defend it, it's of course complete and utter horseshit. There's no actual defense for it. It's just like, they throw some buzzwords out there, they get a news clip out of it, and Fox News is supposed to treat it as though it's biblical. But yeah, I have no respect for these people. For someone who touts themselves as like being kind of like a countercurrent to the status quo, it's like you're the opposite of the countercurrent. You actually flow with the current of the current culture, and it shows. However seriously you want to be taken for your viewpoints, it's gonna mean nothing if like all you end up doing is parroting. If all you do is end up parroting these viewpoints, yeah, him and Bill Maher. I just want to get that in there. Fuck Bill Maher.
I forgot who Bill Maher. Oh yeah, the fucking liberal, the fucking atheist liberal.
Yeah, he used to be real big back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I'm just quickly checking up what's available for Amazon Flex. I'm looking for a date on the 22nd because when they post offers, they quickly go away. Like the basic like afternoon, like regular working hours go away really quickly, and then what you have left is like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., but they don't have
Yeah.
22nd so far. So It should be good on that. They do raise the rates when people don't take them. Like, what are the rates right now? Because that's the message I got. They ain't raise either. Oh, okay. So they raise like usually you get $70. This one is they race the 3:15 a.m. to 6:45 a.m. on Wednesday for 73.50, and the 3:30 a.m. for the 7 a.m. Same price, and then also 3:45 a.m. to 7:15 a.m. for $75. I've seen it go up to like $95 or $96, but hey, you gotta grind. I gotta grind because that's my job right now.
Yeah, I don't know too much one way or the other about it, but I know I'd qualify just because my car fits like their.
No, no, there's a wait list. I've been on the wait list for a year.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a wait list. They open up when they open up new warehouses, like that's when like they start flooding people in.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like you want to talk about the RC a little bit?
Yeah, we could talk about it.
All right, so I'm gonna come out and say it. I am the president of the RC. My name is Peter Marusik, so everybody knows now who the president is. If you want to come at me, come at me. Like I'm ready to a full extent.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of good work. I know they've been organizing locally, trying to make plans to help feed the homeless and clothe and feed the homeless, as well as like just to introduce people who maybe like don't have a lot of awareness of like gun culture, or if they do have awareness of gun culture, kind of just be like, oh, these are not like chuds, and people who I'm afraid are just going to like call me slurs and shit. It's like, oh, okay, like they're pretty legit. So
Yeah, I've been in my where I'm at. I've been trying to start a committee with either like a committee of MMA or MMA slash boxing type of style, or in general like gym. So like gym would be like working out and also doing like MMA or boxing. And I say MMA and boxing because like the material that I have is both like MMA and boxing gloves and stuff like that to train. I really want to get that started up as quickly as possible.
so the focus is on self-defense is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, like you gotta have like a basic skills. You can't use your gun for all situations, right?
Sure,
If you
sure.
do, you're gonna get prosecuted and possibly go to jail for a long time. So you gotta have some basic skills in defending yourself that isn't a gun.
Yeah, I always tell people because I do train people on the side, and I always tell them like, hey, like I'm cool with you getting your firearm. I encourage it. I'm happy about it. But it is not the be all end all in terms of when it comes to self defense. Like, you should absolutely number one, you should absolutely have more than just your firearm on you. Like you should usually have like a firearm or a like a pepper spray, and uh, and like know some de-escalation tactics, right? How to talk to somebody to de-escalate a situation so that you're not doing the opposite and escalating it to where you feel you may need to use the pepper spray or the firearm, right? But always like if you're carrying one, you're carrying the other. If all you have on you is pepper spray, that's fine. That's fine too. It for me it goes like in order from most necessary to least necessary is de-escalation tactics, pepper spray, and then like less than lethal, and then firearm. Like less. Yeah.
I just want to say like so when you have pepper spray you gotta make sure that the person that you're gonna pepper spray is advancing at you towards like trying to like beat you up or something like that, because if you just use it out of words, like you just have an argument and you just pull out the pepper spray, you're gonna get a felony and you're gonna lose your gun.
Yeah, yeah. If you are being assaulted, and there's people often ask like what's the distinction between assault and battery? So speaking from somewhat personal experience, assault is if let's say someone bigger than you is advancing towards you and making like very real threats against your life or your physical person, like, oh, I'm gonna fuck you up, I'm gonna come at you, then that is assault. Like, because as far as you're concerned, this person who is much larger than me, you're convinced that this person has the capability to inflict harm on me. Not only has the capability, but they're willing to do so. Hence, why they're advancing at you. Battery is, on the other hand, is like, this person put hands on me. It doesn't matter whether it was intentional or not. Usually we're going to assume it was intentional, right? But the minute I, like, let's say, even if I just grab the end of your t shirt, that is battery. I am putting hands on your person unconsensually, and I'm threatening physical harm against you. So,
I would like to add the legal definition to that. So
yes, please.
assault is the imminent apprehension of harm. So it must be imminent. It must be like right away. Apprehension, you're scared, and then the harm that you're gonna get. Battery, you said it well. It's just touching. Could be any type of touch, unwanted touch. That's the key. Unwanted touch. Any unwanted touch that you get. This also applies to smoking. So this is what we learn in law school. So if you smoke and you blow smoke at a person in their face, you could possibly get sued. Now, is that practical in the real world life? Not really, but even that is a battery.
Yeah. If if it was like a laundry list of things that was happening to me, both physically and not, blowing smoke would still be on that list of things. Like, for example, I'm not a lawyer, but if I was the person if people was laying their hands on me, I would say, like, well, on top of laying their hands on me and being physically and verbally aggressive and all this other stuff, blowing smoke, if the situation was manufactured in such a way, that would be added to the laundry list of other things that were happening that night. But a more petty individual could be like, well, he was blowing smoke in my face, even though I was being like very cordial and very direct with this person. Like you said, it in practicality, like, according to the law, that is, textbook, word for word definition of battery. But would it would it win you a case in the court of law, in criminal or civil court? A lot less likely than one would anticipate. So, but anyway, going back to the original intent here. If you are carrying anything for self-defense, make sure, if you have a lethal weapon, a firearm, more often than not, it's going to be a firearm in these cases. But if you do, make sure you're also carrying less than lethal means of self-defense. And if it's possible, I would also be wary of, or like, have taken a de-escalation course, because if you know how to de-escalate, then you're gonna get out of a lot of bad situations. Situational awareness, I would say, is your best bet for avoiding any, like, negative situations. If you're walking down a sidewalk later at night, and you notice that there's like two guys, that seem to be following you for the better part of like 500 feet or so, then you might want to get into a better lit area, and or a more populated area, so as to avoid them. The possibilities are endless, but being aware of your surroundings is a good way to get out of these situations. And then everything after that is just a step in escalation. So the de-escalation techniques is probably like, well, in absence of situational awareness, I now have to de-escalate the situation where it's like very elevated to less elevated. If they don't want to listen to what I have to say, and they won't accept my advance, like my my offerings of goodwill, then we can move forward to pepper spray. And then if nothing takes the wind out of your sails like pepper spray. There's a plethora of videos online that shows like people who were like really intent on just messing up some other person's day, and the minute this person breaks out the pepper spray and they do a little, tag on their face, oh man, they could not give less of a shit about the outcome of that interaction, because now it's like I have capsaicin in my eyes and in all my glands. I can't keep my eyes open. I can't wipe it away. Now it's a problem. And it's like, okay, the problem, the threat ceases to become a threat, at least partially. Now, if they keep coming at you even after you've laid down a good bit of pepper gel or pepper spray, then lethal force may be the next step in or non-lethal or less than lethal force may be the next step in that ladder right there. So
Yeah, I would always say, just have that spidey sense tingling all the time, making sure that, you know, uh, as Dram said, uh, looking at your surroundings, being careful in any place at all. Like, doesn't matter if it's like a lower class or like a higher class. This can happen anywhere. I saw a police shooting, basically like a dude that was a multimillionaire. He was shooting like his rifle and stuff at the police and stuff, and he got murked. So money doesn't change anything. They're as bad as people in any class that is currently within the United States. So with the RRC, when I talk about the RRC, I'm talking about the Red Rifle Collective. We're a Marxist-Leninist org. I would suggest, if you want to learn all these stuff, to join. We're trying to get closer to the masses. Trying to make these committees, trying to help people out in troubling times, trying to listen to people and their ideas and their thoughts and coming up with solutions. We're a year and it's almost 6 months org, or it's either a year, a 6 month, or a year, a 6 month plus. So I would encourage y'all to join. You call me Supreme Leader, that's fine.
stipulation, you're not required to do such, but but yeah, we're
Supreme Commander, like One Piece, the Revolutionary Army. You seen that, right?
I've seen One Piece. I kind of like, I'm familiar with like Luffy's. He's kind of like, he is the captain, but he's also like, I don't care if you call me captain or not. Like he's like, what I care more about is
No,
what I care more about.
his father is the Supreme Commander of the Revolutionary Army in the series.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I'm not that far along in the anime. Uh,
it's
I'm not that
spoiling.
far along.
It's just spoiling for you.
Like I know that he's important. I know that his dad, both his dad and his granddad are like very they're both very significant figures in the universe, but I did not know to what extent his, mind you, out of desire just to not spoil it for myself, I just did not know to what extent his dad, or his dad specifically, was involved in like, counter.
Yeah, he's literally like the opposite of his grandfather. His name is Dragon, so he's a vet of the Revolutionary Army that is very important in the series. Do you know who Sabo is?
No, I don't think. Oh, yeah, I don't think I've gotten that far. I think I'm like under. I'm not even in the 400s yet. So, but
I'm I'm almost done. Like I've actually kind of like stopped because I got fatigue over it. Like I was binge watching it from like the first episode to like I don't know like what number I am right now, but like I have like a couple more like arcs ahead.
uh-huh.
I'm almost like up to date. Like
I finished the Thriller Bark episode, or not episode, the Thriller Bark story arc. And I'm told apparently that it's not the most well liked of the arcs, but it's the one that sets up like a bunch of a bunch. It's a bunch. There's a lot of stuff in there that sets up a lot of arcs later on. Like there's a lot of I don't know what else to call it, but a lot of like seed story. Like you know,
I'm not even telling you the worst one that's gonna happen. That's gonna like flabbergast you.
you know what? That's fine. I don't need to know. I will discover it on my own. But yeah, Luffy. Speaking of Luffy, like, what do you think about the use of One Piece iconography used in number one, No King's protest, and also like protest in general around the world. I've seen.
I think it's cringe. I think it's very cringe. I've seen it in Mexico too. I think it's very cringe. It's like like me as a communist, like it'll be the exact same thing as me bringing like a flag of Stalin to like a protest or something like that. I think that's very cringe. I think people need to figure out their own like image and their own like thoughts that they want to bring out. Just because like Luffy symbolizes the freedom of like because what was the whole explanation for being a king? He wanted to make everybody free or something like that, like in terms of
Yeah, basically.
yeah. So like I think I really think it's cringe. I love the series. It's one of the best series out there. Like top three. But I mean, a lot of people can like interpret like One Piece like their own way, right? Even like people that we might not agree with, or people that if we did that, people that didn't agree with us like might say like you have the wrong interpretation. So I think it's cringe. I think they need to like because just think about it again, dialectics, right? It was back in the day. Now it's today. But did they do this back in the day? Like did they do this type of stuff like back in the day? And it's like having like what's his name? George Carlin.
Uh-huh.
Is that his name?
The comedian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like having him on a flag for the libertarians. Like
Oh yeah.
it's like cringe. Like and not throwing shade at George Carlin. Like I like him. I like his comedy specials and stuff like that. And I think he spits out some truth in some of his comedy special. But I don't like it at all. What do you think about it?
I'm like on the fence. Like part of like at when I first saw it, I was like, fuck yeah, like that's the, kind of like truly the spirit of revolution, right? Like it's the general populace identifying, even if it's the weeaboo, the otakus who are like kind of really obsessed with anime and Japanese culture, but it's like them being cognizant enough, because I know there's, you know as well as I, that there's plenty of anime fans and nerds who like they'll watch a series from start to finish, and they'll swear up and down that there's no like politics in it, or that there's no alternative messaging to, as opposite of what they're actually thinking about it.
Yeah,
um
like more Pegasus.
Sure, yeah. Gundam is a great example of this as well. Iron Blooded Orphans, great series. And oftentimes, like I'm guilty of this too, that I'll watch a series but I'll do opposite of what most weebs will do, is that instead of like I will maybe not be ignorant to the shows in actual politics. I'll be very cued in, but I just won't like it won't be as thorough, or as how do I say it? As help me out here. It won't I won't be as detailed in my analysis about it, but it's not that like, oh, that doesn't mean that this like I won't take it as like, oh, then this anime isn't like revolutionary, or like has revolutionary politics or anything like that. No, no, no. I'll just kind of just be like neutral to it. And then sometimes somebody will point it out to me, and I was like, oh, that's actually a good argument. I can see how you make that, I see how you make that transition. I see how that you make that connection. That makes total sense. But yeah, I'll say this. I'm happy when I see people make the connection that like, yes, uh, for example, Luffy would say free Palestine. Luffy would absolutely be Luffy would be lining up alongside Hamas to lay some fucking just lay hands against the IDF. He does not give a fuck, and he would do that all day, every day until they were all wiped out. So I'm glad to see that recognition amongst the population at large. But yeah, when it comes to like liberals specifically, I'm just like, again, it's about aesthetics for you guys. That's all you guys care about is aesthetics. And I know that it is surface level appreciation. It's surface level appreciation, and you guys aren't gonna do anything else, anything that requires you to like just be a little bit more gritty, you know. Perfect example of this, I saw a recent video of like some non-violent protesters, right? Or not even quotes, non-violent protesters saying like, hey, so since we can't actually throw ice agents into like X and Y River, we're here to symbolically throw like almost 300 pounds worth of ice into X or Y River. And it's like, and you look at them and you're like, these people are, number one, they're clearly liberals. Number two, it's like, have you tried? Have you tried throwing ice agents into the river? Because then they might take you seriously. Because people forget that when it comes to protests, at least in the past, meant that like, okay, if you don't listen to our peaceful posturing, if you don't listen to us walking down the streets in walking down the bridge in Alabama, if you don't listen to us or pay attention to us sitting at the dining tables or at the diner and the bar, then you will undoubtedly come to experience us that like there is an implied threat to protesting, and which people I think has been deliberately erased from our teaching of history or how we learn and adapt history in our institutions. And so it's kind of like, well, there's nothing wrong with throwing ice in the river, but also understand that if you're protesting, if you're actually putting bodies out there, it's because you intend to do something more if your demands are not met. If your demands are not met and you decide, "Oh, well, we tried. We already gave it our all. We're out there. We were out there, they didn't listen to us, so nothing's going to get done." All that translates and communicates to the people in power is like, "Oh, so we can just ignore them." Because yes, there's 8 million people, the large and the No Kings protest, the largest protest that's ever existed in the history of this country. It matters fuck all if those people if it matters fuck all if we don't listen to these people, because they're not going to burn our houses down. Bar they're not going to ram their way through the doors of the halls of Congress in their state and make something out. They're not going to make our lives difficult. So if they're not going to make our lives difficult, we can ignore them. And that's exactly what they do. And people forget that. Going back to the aesthetics of One Piece, it's like I can see that and I can say like, okay, this person, number one, either gets like truly understands what this person would have stood for, and I'm happy about that. But if you're not going to do anything about it, if they don't listen to you, don't bother bringing that flag up, because all you're concerned about are aesthetics, and that's not going to get you anywhere. It's not.
Yeah, I agree with that. We have to acknowledge the how Minneapolis basically like took over the situation and was like somewhat of groundbreaking for a model for what we should do in that occasion.
Yeah.
But again, like, if you're showing up with a rifle, all geared up by yourself, that's individualism. Like, you're there not to do anything. You're not really scaring the ICE agents because there's more of them, more geared out than
Uh,
that person. So I think this all has to do with like organization of the left,
yeah.
but yeah, like I think we run out of time for today. So thank y'all who are watching this. It'll be distributed on YouTube, Substack, maybe TikTok, and we hope to see you again. We're gonna make this a daily thing again, not Sundays. Not Sundays, maybe like Friday or Saturdays. I try to do it weekly, and I appreciate y'all that watched this. So, do you have anything to say, Drum?
No, thanks y'all for tuning in. We hope to see you back next time. We're trying to like Marxist, like Pete, Marxism said, we're trying to make this a regular thing.
You can say my name. It's on the screen. Like, don't worry.
Yeah, like Pete said, we're trying to make this a regular thing. So we hope to see you back next time. Tune in for our rants and rambling.